Yeah, one of the things I actually wanted to start on is, I find this fascinating. I've gone through it twice now, is your book, Money in the Streets. And I have a lot of notes that
I love all the blue stickies in there.
Yeah, there's a lot of highlighter too as I go through the pages.
Oh,
but,
man.
you know, one of the things that I find fascinating about your story is, you know, I think a lot of people that know you know the success of Barry Habib. They know MBS Highway, they know the speaking, they see you at these events and they love you for that. But one of the things I think is cool is kind of that return to like where you came from and how you launched that. You know, one of my favorite parts of Money in the Streets was where you talked about your parents immigrating to the United States, and your mom was working in a factory, and there was actually a point where I think your dad had a heart attack and your mom had to really take over, you know, not only providing for the family, like making sure the kids made it, you know, and were alive, but also as the breadwinner, right? And so I'd be curious just to talk a little bit about what you feel were some of your biggest lessons on the journey from, you know, coming from your the foundation that your parents helped you establish, coming to this country, and then how you took that and created this opportunity. Because the book, like the title, is pretty self-explanatory. Money's in the streets, and this is a belief that you have where money's all around us. We just have to be able to look for it and see it, right? I'd be curious about some of the things that you felt were paramount in your development to who you are today.
Well, thanks, man. Yeah, so much of it is. So my parents were immigrants from Europe, and like so many people, they came to this country and they were told about the riches in America. And they said, you know, America's such a rich country, there's money in the streets. And, you know, they were older. My dad was 57, my mom was 40, and then they found out, oh, guess what? You're pregnant. And
Wow.
yeah, so I arrived on the scene, much younger than my other siblings. And I'm first generation born here in the States. And as I was growing up, we had plenty of adversity, like so many people do.
Sure.
You know, we grew up really, really poor. As immigrants, they had nothing. They came from Turkey. Our background's from Spain, but they had several generations in Turkey, and they actually had a good life there. But they wanted to come to America for the future.
Right.
And
for sure.
I am so grateful to that. Never forget that, and always try and honor that. So as they came here, they were a bit disillusioned because there wasn't exactly money in the streets, you know. And they would tell me the story about almost how ridiculous it was to think that there was money in the streets and how wealthy the country was. And you know, my dad wound up, as you mentioned, he passed away when I was a young boy. My mom worked in a sweatshop factory making dresses, so it was really tough. And it was just mom and I, because my siblings were so much older. They got married, they moved out. But she taught me a lot of values. She taught me that, you know, as poor as we were, to help others.
Yeah.
And, you know, she's like, you know, that, you know, God will help you if you help others. And if she would see someone less fortunate, what little we had, she would always try and share. And she taught me that. It's a very important value of mine. Because I know what it's like to be poor. So I always want to see if I can help people do better, you know. And so much of a shame that money is looked at as something now as, you know, a negative almost, to succeed monetarily. You know, I would say to people, listen, from someone who can relate to not having money, having a little money doesn't solve all your problems, but it does make your life better. But one of the best things about being able to make money is the good you can do.
Sure.
And the ways you can help others. And I think that is what gives us fulfillment.
Yeah.
And that's an important thing, because people could be money driven or success driven. And I think you should have, to some extent, those goals. It's important to have goals.
Yeah.
But they can also be unhappy if they don't add fulfillment to that. And for me and many other people, that comes from doing good and feeling good about your purpose and helping other people and seeing that change. And I think that is a missing ingredient for people.
I actually feel like in the marketing world specifically, I know a lot of people that they stumbled into something good and they started to make money, but they were kind of directionless and they didn't know what they were going to do with it. And I've actually observed a lot of people that kind of wind up where this goal that they thought they were pursuing just for money, it's like they're alone, you know, they don't know what to do, who to help. There's no one to help around them. And I think it is really important that you know, when you have access to resources like that, one of the biggest contributing factors on fulfillment, like you said, I think is sharing, is walking that path with other people. You know, I wanted to go back some.
Okay, if I could say something, please don't forget what you were going to say, because it's going to be important. But I also wanted to add to that you know, I made a lot of mistakes.
Sure.
And growing up poor and trying to achieve things and be successful and build businesses, you know, I missed out on a lot of stuff, and I made sacrifices. And, you know, I you know, with a marriage that wound up, you know, not working out because I gave my ex-wife everything she wanted, but not what she needed,
right,
because I was not present. And so we need to work hard, but we need to maintain balance. I mean, it could be an imbalance for a period of time, for a season, but you can't always be that way. And I fell into the trap of always being that way. So, you know, there's lessons we learn through life, and we try and constantly get better. And that was an important lesson.